The caravan of pride. A caravan passes the streets of Kufa. In chains and cuffs they are. Who are these poor prisoners, and what is their major charge? There is an ill man amongst them. He has spikes around his neck. His face glows with splendor. Still, people throw things at him yet. There are women, all bound by a single chain. They are taunted and laughed at. The hijab has been snatched, and the holy house looted. There are heads on spears. There is one that resembles the prophet. There is one whose face shines like the moon, and there is one who can only be Abu Abdullah. O pride, there is no calamity like yours. There is no sorrow like yours, and there is no test like yours. Salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
محمد وآل محمد صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Help me, I don't like these chains, as well as the stones pouring like rain. Let me grieve my father in peace. He was murdered like all of his devotees. My ears are bleeding, my cheeks are aching. My hijab is stolen, my feet are swollen. How much could cruel Yazid take from me? Then there was my family. Is there more to this calamity? I would cry all night, in a mixture of grief and fright. There was my brother, a body of thorns, who had the worst condition, yet in these hard times a leader of perfection. However, one night I was missing my father's heart, which was brutally ripped apart. I cried loudly, I screamed undoubtedly, with no fear. Then it came, the unbearable, my father's head.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
From birth to death I shall insist that you are the best, I shall persist. You are my guide, you are, she said whilst on the Karbala grounds by himself. O Allah, I have done my duty and exposed you enemies, so that mankind do not remain in dark, as what is truth and evil. I have given all the sacrifice and now will stand to give my life too. If only I was there to help the Imam Hussain, but unfortunately I wasn't, which just increases the pain. But inshallah I will be one of the Imam Mehdi's companions.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
On the plains of Karbala, on the 10th, on Ashura, on the scorching desert sand, the children held up their dry hands. They cried, Allah Atash, Allah Atash. So Hazrat Abbas grabbed a mush, and he went to find his Mawla, none other than Abu Abdullah. Abbas had been disallowed to fight, but he was a warrior in all his might. So Hussain let him get the water, but Abbas didn't know he was heading to a slaughter. On the plains of Karbala lay Abbas, a true martyr, with an arrow in his eye and no arms on either side. His battle was one of will, but now his body lay quite still. On the plains of Karbala, Abbas cried, Ya Mawla.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. ماشاءالله ماشاءالله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. The day of Ashura. The day of Ashura, 10th Muharram, was the most tragic day of Bibi Sakina's lifetime. On this day, all her family members were martyred. She witnessed all her uncles, cousins, and brothers martyred consecutively. She overheard how all her father's close friends, such as Habib and Zuhair, were martyred. Sakina witnessed her aunt Zainab alayhi salam bid farewell to her two sons, On and Muhammad. She observed her aunt Fadwa crying over her son Hazrat Qasim's body. She pulled at her brother Ali Akbar's cloak as everyone mourned as he was departing the camp. Shama Ghariba. It was the evening of Ashura and the sun began to set. The cruelty of Yazid grew. They robbed the body of the Imam and stole his armor that he wore on the battlefield. Shimon tore Bibi Sakina's earrings with such force they began to bleed. The tents were set alight.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. ما شاء الله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
نہ پوچھ میرا حسین کیا ہے، نہ پوچھ میرا حسین کیا ہے، حسین دل ہے حسین جاں ہے، حسین قرآن کی زبان ہے، حسین عرفان کی سلطنت ہے، حسین سرکار دو جہاں ہے، حسین سجدوں کی سرزمین ہے، حسین زخموں کا آسماں ہے، پوچھ میرا حسین کیا ہے، نہ پوچھ میرا حسین کیا ہے، حسین جستجو ہے خدا کی آبرو ہے، حسین زخموں بھری جبی ہے، حسین عظمت کا آستہ ہے، اٹھا رہا ہے جو لاش اکبر، حسین بوڑھا نہیں جوان ہے، نہ پوچھ میرا حسین کیا ہے، نہ پوچھ میرا حسین کیا ہے، حسین عباس کا سراپا، حسین صحرا کی بے قراری، حسین اکبر کی نوجوانی، حسین اصغر کی بے زبانی، وہ دیکھو جو کے درمیان بھی حسین تنہا دوتا ہوا ہے، نہ پوچھ میرا حسین کیا ہے، نہ پوچھ میرا حسین کیا ہے، صلوات علی محمد وعلی محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Can we please welcome Abbas to deliver a short majlis with a loud salawat?
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
For all our Muslim Mu'minat, our family members maybe are not with us anymore, and for all of those deceased members of the family of the Majlis who are gathered here today, read the Surah Al-Fatiha. صلوات علی محمد و آل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا مولانا حبيب إله العالمين أبو القاسم المصطفى محمد.
اللهم صل على
محمد وعلى آل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الله وعلى القوم الظالمين من الآن إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، قال الله الحكيم في محكم كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد.
Assalamu alaikum. MashaAllah, today you guys have done really great work in learning about the journey from Hussain alayhi salam as he leaves his home from Medina to Mecca to Karbala, and those who've been learning about what happens even more than that, about how the women and children were not able to stay in Karbala, but they had to leave and go to Kufa to Sham, and then all the way back home. It's very important that we learn this story and this message. Someone might say, you know something, all of these things we're talking about, Imam Hussain alayhi salam and Zainab, and all of this story and this tale, it happened so long ago. No one's alive now who was actually there at the time. It was over 1,000 years ago. I've never even seen my imams. I've not been alive with them. Why are we always mentioning the same stories again and again and again? What for? If we look back, that journey from the imam as he travels from his home to Karbala, it was a journey, right? He was literally walking to a new place. But it was more than just a physical journey. It was a journey of a man going and being close to his God, close to Allah Azza wa Jal. Read the salawat, please. On the one hand, okay, Hussain alayhi salam, he's got all his friends, all his companions, and they are walking together. They're walking together. Okay. On another hand, he's going closer and closer and closer to the day of Ashura, to the day when he's going to be killed and martyred. And he's going to be meeting Allah. After all of this time, he's going to die and he's going to meet God finally after all of this suffering he's gone through. So every step he's taking, he's going closer and closer to being with Allah Azza wa Jal, which all of us are going to be going to at some point. This journey, the reason why we keep mentioning is because we're all on a very similar journey. From the moment you are born until you die, every step you take, you're going closer and closer towards your final destination, which is with Allah. We don't know how long we're going to be on this earth. We have no idea. We don't know if we're going to live for 5 years, 10 years more, 100 years, maybe, but we don't know. A few weeks ago, I went to the funeral of one of my friends. He died when he was maybe 14 years old. Went to his grave. It's been, how many years has it been, Kazim? Since 7 years. 7 years since he died. We went to his grave. He didn't know when he was going to die. I know people who have died at a much younger age. We don't know when it's going to happen. All we know is every step you take, like the Imam, is a step going closer and closer towards God. There's something very special about this journey of the Imam alayhi salam. The journey of Imam Hussain alayhi salam is so special because every single one of us can walk the same journey today, where we're trying to follow how the Imam lived, listen to his words, and be like him. And everyone's welcome on this journey. People of any age, any gender, any stage of life is allowed on this journey. No matter what you've done before or where you come from, you are all allowed to walk in the path of Hussain alayhi salam. For example, a 6-month-old child is on this journey. 6-month-old is younger than all of us. He's on this journey. Okay. Bibi Sakina is 4 years old. She's on this journey. Hazrat Aun and Muhammad, Hazrat Qasim, they're all teenagers. 11, 12, 14 years old. Maybe I'm that age. Okay. Hazrat Ali Akbar, 18. He's on this journey. Actually, some generations a bit older than that. Abbas, in his 20s. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, 23 years old. So I'm thinking, you know something? My age is how old they are. Let's go further. There are mothers and fathers on this journey. There are people who are fathers, uncles, aunties. There's a man who's 85 years old on this journey. Muslim bin Awsaja. He's a very elderly man. He can't run around with a sword and fight. He's too old for that. What's his role? When Imam Hussain alayhi salam is praying, he stands and defends him while he's praying. That's his job. While Imam's praying, I'm going to stand here. Anyone who fires an arrow to the Imam, I'd rather it hits me than hits my Imam. That's his role. Okay. It's not just men. Women are on this journey. Bibi Sakina, her sisters, her relatives, they're on this role as well. Bibi Zainab, sallallahu alayha, read the salat of Bibi Zainab alayhi salam. After the death of Hussain alayhi salam, she's the leader. She's the one that everyone's following. Even though there's an Imam alive who you have to listen to, She's the one who's taking care of everyone. She is the one who's ordering and saying, we are not going to go there. We are not going to go there. We're going to go to our destination. She speaks on behalf of everyone sometimes. Her role is a role of being a leader, even though they're not used to having a woman as a leader, but she proves to them that when Islam is with you, you can be whatever you want to be when you have this religion with you. Everyone's got a role to play. The child who's 6 months to the adult of 87, 85, they've got a role to play. The boys and the girls have a role to play, brothers and sisters. This journey is walking step by step towards Allah. That's why in the Quran it's either known as a sirat al-mustaqim, a straight path to God, or it's like a sabil, a way to God, or habl, a rope to God. All these are words to describe that you have to move closer and closer towards your Lord. Interestingly, people sometimes make mistakes. They do things which are wrong. They get it wrong in life sometimes. And they can be on the path and they can fall off the path. And there are people who are going through changes and they might have been the worst person ever. But one day they changed and they came back to this path towards God. Because the path is always open for everyone. Anyone, when they want, can join this path. For example, who's someone who was on it and then fell off? Shimr alayhi wa la'an, earlier on his life, was a supporter of Imam Ali alayhi salam. He would fight alongside him. Imam Ali alayhi salam. I wasn't even alive then. And Shimr's fighting alongside him in one of the battles. So at that time, he's literally standing behind his Imam, fighting the enemy. Okay, now come 15 years later. He's the very same one who's fighting against Hussain alayhi salam. So in his journey, he made a mistake. He was wrong. And he came off the path towards God. Now he's going against God. He's fighting against the Imam of his time. So that's an example that just because I'm on the path today, I've keep walking closer and closer to God. Because if I make one mistake, I don't know where I'm going to end up if I'm not paying attention to my religion. Someone fighting with the Imam and then he switches. Okay, now look at Hur. Hur started off way far away from the Imam. Those of you who are looking at the journey from Imam from his home to Karbala, Hur sees the Imam on 7 different occasions on this journey. And each time he sees, he's fighting against him, but he's learning something new. He's thinking, place on the way to Karbala, it's time to pray. Hur is in the army whose job is to chase Imam Hussein's army. They're chasing him from place to place. That's why there's so many stops. Every time they stop in one place, they can't stay. The army's following them, they've got to leave again. Then they go another place, they can't stay. The army's going to leave again. They go to Makkah, they can't stay. The army's hiding for them. They can't stay anywhere. Hur is following them. So one day it's time to pray. I think it's in Baida, one of the places in the journey. And it's time to pray. So I'm going to say, Islam says, okay, time to pray. My followers, I'm going to lead Salah, you pray behind me. Hur says, you know something? Even though we're your enemies, you're actually the son of Bibi Fatima alayhi salam. I think we should pray behind you. Read a salawat, please. So it's like, I think, even though, okay, when we're your enemy, but how am I going to lead Salah? You are the son of Bibi Fatima, Imam Hussain alayhi salam. You're the leader. I'm going to pray behind you. So then he prays behind him. So he's thinking to himself, okay, if I'm praying behind him, why am I fighting him? I'm allowed to pray, but why am I going to kill him the next day? Okay. The next day they're going on a journey. Someone says, Imam Hussain alayhi salam, what's an imam? Imam says an imam is someone that when they have the Quran in front of him, they follow exactly what the Quran says. Hur's thinking, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. If the Quran is there, I should follow it. It's a book of God. Why am I going to follow something else? It makes sense. Yazid doesn't follow the Quran at all. Yazid does open sins. Yazid doesn't even pray namaz sometimes. Yazid drinks alcohol openly. This is a big problem. Imam said doesn't do any of these things. Okay, he's thinking. Now he comes to the 9th night of Muharram, the night before. Hur's thinking, okay, before I was on a whole different path. I wasn't following Hussain alayhi salam. But now, I can see myself as if I'm standing between heaven and hell in front of me. What am I going to choose? Tomorrow's Ashura. What do? Either I choose hell or I choose heaven. If I fight against the Imam, I know for a fact he's thinking to himself, I'm going to go to hell. I see it in front of me. But if I join him, if I change and I go back to him on the 9th night, maybe he will take me. Maybe he'll allow me into his army. So he leaves. Now when he's leaving, he's worrying, thinking, I'm going to join the Imam. I'm going to join him. But what if he doesn't accept me? What if he's thinking, Hur, you didn't give me water. Hur, you are the one who didn't let me camp Farad. Hur, you were not even on my team. Well, I'm going to be your friend now. What if he's thinking, what if he says this? Okay, In the night, he goes to his camp, brings his son with him. As he comes towards him, he sees Hazrat Abbas. Father Abbas says, "Who's coming?" He says, "It's me, Hur." Abbas says, "Hur, what are you doing?" He goes, "I want to speak to your Mawla." Abbas says, "No problem, you can speak to him, come." He takes him to Hussain alayhi salam. Hur says, "Yeah, Imam, listen, I made a big mistake. I've been following you, I've been in a whole different life. Is it too late for me to change now? On the, like, literally the night before the battle, like, can I change now?" Mom says, "Hold on, I've been waiting for you to come towards me.
Wow.
I've been waiting, when are you going to come to me? And now you're here. Of course there's a place for you. Join me. You're always welcome." And he says, "Not just me, what about my son? Can he join?" "Of course your son can join. All of you can join." So even the last possible moment, someone who's not doing the right thing, if you change your mind and decide to do the right thing, Allah will accept you. He take you right back towards him. Even if I wasn't doing the right thing, I wasn't doing my namaz, I was being mean to someone, if I decide to change, the doors of God are always open. And that's the Imam alayhi salam. I'll give you one more. Do you want to hear one more example?
Yeah.
Bismillah.
On the day of Ashura, in the morning, literally before the fighting starting, before they've even started,
Mhm.
Muhammad was giving a speech saying, "Listen to the enemy, you called me to Kufa, and now I've come and you didn't give me any help." In fact, you know all the ones in Kufa who called him, they sent letters to him. He says, "Look, these are the letters that you gave to me." And he throws it in their face and says, "Look, you gave me a letter to come and be your Imam. Now you're coming to fight me. It's not fair. Take these letters back." While he's speaking, a man's listening, saying, "You know what? That makes a lot of sense." His name's Abu Sha'tha. He's saying, "I've done something wrong." He turns and changes and supports what I'm saying. And when morning of the day of Ashura, when the fighting starts, he then fights with the Imam. He fires 5 arrows. He's killed. With 5 arrows, he changes his whole life from being against the Imam to being for the Imam. And now he's one of the greatest companions, the 72 companions of Hussain alayhi salam. At any time, anyone can join this path. But at any time, if I make a mistake, I could fall off. I could be like Shimr, I could be like Talha, or any of them, where one day I'm following the Imam and I'm right with him. The next day, I switch and I turn against him. So many people did this to the Holy Prophet himself, where their whole life they're with him, supporting him, they're being his friends, they're following the Holy Prophet. And when the Prophet dies, they go against the daughter of the Holy Prophet. So this path of the Imam alayhi salam is such an important path. Even if it was years and years and years and years ago the Imam lived, his name is alive today. Anyone who's in my group, I mentioned this line to you. Bibi Zainab, what's the line that I mentioned to all of you? What is it? Say in English, I see
Nothing but beauty.
Exactly. She's asked, look at all of Muhammad saying, look at his suffering, the way he was killed, your family, your friends. What do you think? Ibn Ziyad says it to her. The enemy. What do you think about all of this I've done to you? She says, I see nothing except beauty. The day of Ashura is beautiful, to say the Zainab. All of the suffering is beauty. Okay, she's seen her sons being killed. She's seen her nephew. She's seen her brother being killed. But when she thinks about the journey to Allah, that's a beautiful journey. Even if I'm going to suffer and things are going to be hard, people are going to make fun of me or be cruel to me or mean to me, or they're going to make fun of me. It doesn't matter. If I have God, I have everything I need. And to her, that's beautiful enough. She doesn't even see the pain anymore. She just sees beauty. Ma ra'aytu illa jamila, just beauty. So for me and you, we have to make our namaz beautiful, our fasting beautiful, the way we speak to our parents beautiful, the way we speak to our friends beautiful, the way we read Quran should be beautiful. Even people should look at us and think this person reminds me of God. They're so nice. They're so kind. When they speak, they're so soft in their speech. If someone's not happy, they're so nice. They put their arm and say, are you okay? Imam Ali says when you've got a friend and the friend's not there, I would like you to ask about them. That how are they if they're not there today? For example, someone's not here today. How are they doing? Are they well? That's how his followers are. All of their lifestyle is beautiful. They're so nice to each other. And that's the 72 companions. Hur was a nice person. Habib ibn Madahir, Muslim bin Awsaja. All of these people were just good human beings. So this path, this journey is to be a good person. That every step I take, I'm trying not to hurt anyone's feelings. I'm trying not to abandon my prayer. I'm trying to be a good human being who's nice and kind and honest. And my adab, my akhlaq is beautiful. Sure, we can pray, we can all be like this. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Okay. The journey of the Imam alayhi salam, which I mentioned to you, there are so many people who walk on this journey and have different experiences. We are currently just coming out of the days of the martyrdom of Bibi Sakina alayhi salam. Let me, for my side, mention just a few things about her, just so we can reflect on how sad and difficult her life was. Bibi Sakina alayhi salam, as all of you know, was 4 years old on the day of Ashura. She was very young. She was born earlier in the time when Imam alayhi salam was the Imam in Medina. And her whole life, she's been protected, and her friends and her mum takes care of her. Zainab takes care of her. Mum takes care of her. Every night when she's tired, Mum says when she sleeps, she can sleep on my chest. Rest her head on my chest. That's how we sleep. That's her whole lifestyle. One day, she's told we have to leave our homes now. Why? Yazid has said that either if we don't give bayat to him, he's going to kill us. We have to leave our homes. She packs her bags with her mother and her family, and she leaves. Okay, now she goes to Makkah. She's going towards the Hajj. But again, they have to leave. So now she's going on the journey. When she's going on that long journey from Karbala, from Medina all the way to Karbala, her life is okay. Until 3 days before the day of Ashura, 7th of Muharram, when she's thirsty. Because that's when they stop giving the water. So when she lands in Karbala, she's saying, I'm thirsty. I wish I had some water. Is there any water? There's none. And as you know, when she's saying, Al-Atash, Al-Atash, if only I had some water, if only, it's her uncle Abbas who says, I will give you water. Like on the day of Ashura. Everyone is thirsty. All of the children are thirsty. All of them. There's no water left. And they just don't have anything to drink. If you felt thirsty before, imagine thirst for 3 days. What you would do if you didn't get any water for that long period of days. And not just 3 days, in the heat of the sun as well. Like it's so warm. And there's no AC, no air conditioning. You feel tired and you feel thirsty. Hazrat Abbas says, I'll bring you water. Bibi Sakina says, in that case, all of the children come towards me. Let's raise our hands and do dua. Let's pray my uncle Abbas brings me the water. But he goes towards the Furat, and he doesn't come back with any water. In fact, he says to Imam Hussain alayhi salam, I can't even go back if I've not got water. Leave me here. Sakina's thirsty and she's 4 years old. I promised her water and I know how thirsty she is. How can I go back if I've not got water? Leave my body here. I can't even go back. So Imam Hussain alayhi salam is the one who brings the alam, the big alam which you see, he brings it back to her. And she says, but where's my uncle Abbas? He's going to bring me water. Where is he? And Imam says, your uncle Abbas is not coming anymore. Here is the alam, but there is no one to carry the alam except me. She's still thirsty. Then the day of Ashura continues, where Imam Hussain alayhi salam himself goes to the battlefield. And she's a young girl. She's thinking, my father's going now. Everyone who left, I didn't see them come back. My brother Ali Akbar, my cousin Qasim, my cousins On and Muhammad, they didn't come back. And they went to the same place, the battlefield. Now my Imam is going to the battlefield, my father. So when he's riding out, she stops him. She grabs onto the horse. You know how big horses are and how their legs are so violent? She doesn't care. She says, Zuljana, don't take my father anymore. I don't want him to go anymore. Everyone who goes never comes back. So Imam gets off his horse and says, Sakina, why have you come? You know I'm going to the battlefield. Why have you come? He says, my father, every single person who goes, they leave me. And I've not seen them come back except you've brought their body. But every night when I'm tired, it's your chest that I sleep on. Okay, everyone's left, but how am I going to sleep if you don't come back? How am I going to sleep at night? I'm so used to it. So he takes her, he picks her up, he lays her head on his chest, he rests her, and I think this is the last time where she has a proper good night of sleep or good moment of sleep. He lays her down and he leaves for the battlefield. As all of you know, from that moment onwards, Bibi Sakina is known as a yatim. Yatim means you're an orphan. You have no father anymore. Your father has been killed. Now, when you're thinking of the journey from Karbala to Kufa and Kufa to Sham, okay, there are many difficulties. But imagine how it was for her to go through this land. This young girl, walking, sometimes she's walking barefoot. It's a long, long journey in the desert, and she's walking that journey. Sometimes she's not walking sometimes. She's sitting on a camel. But like we mentioned earlier, when she's on that camel, there's no saddle on the camel. And often a saddle is where you sit on to keep firm, but there's no saddle. So it's very uncomfortable to sit there. Even if you're an adult, Now, if you're a child on a saddle like that, you can't sit still, you're always moving around. But what if you're a child who's not drunk water for days? A child who's thirsty, a child whose body is weak? That child's going to be falling from side to side. So when Bibi Sakina alayhi salam's on this camel going to Kufa, while she's sitting there, her body keeps falling because she's not got the strength to even stay still. And Bibi Zainab has seen something so many times: when a child falls from the camel, no one even picks the child up anymore. Their enemy are so cruel, they don't even allow them to pick up their child. If they fall, they leave them there and they keep riding away. So she says, this is not fair. I'm not going to go further if Sakina falls from this camel. So the enemy comes and brings a rope. And they take a rope and they tie this rope from the legs of this girl, this 4-year-old girl, on this camel. Now, while she's sitting there, her legs are now strapped onto the camel. So now she's not going to fall off. But now she starts falling backwards and forwards because she's not strong enough. And the sun's on her face. So as she falls backwards and forwards, Zainab says, I can't have this. What if she falls off now still? So one riwayat says, one narration says, she lies back and they tie her arms with a rope on this camel. She's younger than all of you. She's 4 years old. I know all of you are older than this. Imagine how much that would hurt for you. And now she's lying down back on a camel, her arms and legs strapped on this camel. When they release her from this camel, they say, okay, now we're going to Sham. When she comes out, she says, now do I have water? Now can I drink water? When she says this, one narration says that Shimr, the La'in one who killed her father, comes to her and says, I'll give you some water. When it comes to water, he takes out water in his hands, and as she finally reaches out to drink the water, he goes onto the ground. And she sees this. He takes out more water and he starts feeding the horses in front of her and says, I'll give them water, but I won't give you water. Another narration says that when she says, can I have some water? Please, now can I have some water after you've given it to the animals? He says, here's some water. And he brings out in his hands the head of her father, Hussain alayhi salam. He says, you don't have any water because I'm the one who killed your father. I did this. And I'm not giving you any water. Now, when she sees the head of her father, she starts crying. That's her dad. That's her father she's seeing. She used to live with him and she misses him. And now she sees him without a body. And she just sees a head in front of her. She starts crying. From then onwards, she's always wishing and saying, I wish I could be with my father. When I was with my dad, life was so good. Life with him was fine. I could sleep on his chest. I could play with him. He would tell me stories. Now I'm taken like a prisoner in a new area. People are shouting at me. People are being mean to me. People are swearing at me. People are throwing things at me. I wish I could have my father. She goes towards the prison now. Even in prison, she's saying, why am I in prison? Why am I not with my father? Why am I not home in Medina? What am I doing here? So one day she sees a bird flying outside. She says, where's that bird going? And I'm suggesting that bird is going home. She says, when will I go home? I'm staying in this prison my whole life now. When do I get to go home? One of the nights which comes, she's feeling so sad. She's missing her father. She says, no, Imam, oh someone, I wish I could have my father. And she starts crying and crying. When Bibi Zainab sees it, even Bibi Zainab starts crying because even she misses Imam Hussain alayhi salam. She wants to be close to Imam Hussain alayhi salam. It's her brother. Now they're all crying. As they're crying, Yazid hears. He says, what is this noise? They said the daughter of Hussain is missing her father. She cries a lot, but today everyone's crying. She's asking for something. Yazid says, make her stop crying. In the prison, as she's crying, the enemy comes into the prison and is carrying in his hands a tray. Sakina says, have you brought food or drinks for me now? Zainab says, Sakina, don't open that tray. Don't open it. I know what's in there. When they bring the tray forward, Sakina holds her hands open. They open the tray and the face of her father is lying there, the head of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. And now she takes his head and she holds it and she weeps, crying and crying. The face, the eyes are closed, but she sees her father. As she's crying, she closes her eyes and she has a dream. In that dream, after all of this time, she finally sees her father in this dream. Imam Hussain walks towards her in this dream and says to her, Sakina, I know you are thirsty. Now I will give you some water. I know you have missed me. Now I will hug you. I know you have been alone. Now I am coming for you. In this dream, Sakina says, where are you? I'm in a dark prison. I have no one with me. Where are you? I wish I could be with you again. And she's crying and crying and crying. Imam Sajjad comes and says, well, now he saw this girl. Before she was crying, now he's quiet. Maybe she's sleeping. When he goes down, he sees she has died while crying for her father. So he kneels down and holds her body. And he sees that while she was holding the head of her father, she's died, just calling for him. Al-Muntazir thinks to himself, I was told to look after this girl. Now she's died in front of me. This 4-year-old girl. What do I do? He kneels down, and in the prison he makes a small grave for her, a small qabr. And he digs it open, and he takes this child, and he lays this young child into that grave. They couldn't even change the clothes of the child because Bibi Sakina's body was burnt so much, they couldn't even take the clothing off from her. Have you ever seen a 4-year-old suffer this much before? So he buries the girl down, he closes the grave, and he closes it. Now, today, many people go to that same grave of Bibi Sakina alayhi salam in Sham, in Syria, and they do dua that, Ya Allah, for this girl, help me. For this girl, help my children. For this girl, keep my children safe. And so many times, just because they go to Sham, if they were ill, they become cured. If they couldn't see, they gain their sight again. If they were struggling with an exam or a test, they are successful in their test. And even if you are not able to go to Sham or to Karbala, if you're far away, if you're here in London, for example, when you pray, raise your hands for dua, inshallah, all of you. When you pray, inshallah, say, Ya Allah, for the sake of Sakina, help me in my exams, inshallah. When I say finish, say Ya Allah. Ya Allah, when I am going towards school, help me to be a good person in school. Ya Allah. Ya Allah, if I'm working hard, forgive me all of my mistakes. Ya Allah. Ya Allah, all of this poetry I'm doing, let me keep doing it, inshallah. Ya Allah. Ya Allah, let me be, because of this majlis, a soldier for my Imam, inshallah. Ya Allah. Ya Allah, I was not there on the day of Ashura. I could not help my Imam. Let me be a person who helps my religion today, inshallah. Ya Allah. Inshallah. اللهم نسألك بحق فاتك بها بعد أبنيها والسنة المستعوذ فيها أن تصلي على محمد وعنها وعجل فرجهم ماتم حسين.
Ya Hussain.
Ya Hussain.
Ya Hussain.
Ya Hussain. Hussain.
Ya Hussain.
Ya Hussain.
Ya Hussain.
Ya Hussain.
Ya Hussain,
Ya Hussain.
Ya Hussain,
Ya Hussain.
Ya Hussain,
Ya Hussain. Ya Hussain. Ya Hussain.
So I'll just quickly recite a couple of verses of Marcia here for Bibi Sakina, based on Abbas's Masayib, and then I'll recite a brief Naha, inshallah. Take me away from this world and to heaven's door. I want to be with you, Baba, forevermore. Baba, come back to me, Baba. Baba, come back to me, Baba. All together. Baba, come back to me, Baba. 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 How can I live in this world without you, Baba? Why did we come to this land of Karbala? What does it mean, Baba? What does it mean when they say I'm an orphan now? They say the daughter of Hussain has no father now. What did I do? Where are you? Please come back, Baba. Don't leave me here in this place. Take me home, Baba. Baba, come back to me, 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 Baba. Come back and see what they did to your girl, Baba. They slapped my face and they burnt my little dress, Baba. They burnt our tents and they stole all of our things, Baba. They took my veil and they ripped my earrings, Baba. They beat my aunts and they chained my sajjad, Baba. They have no shame and no hearts. They're so cruel, Baba. Baba, come back to me, 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 Baba. Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain, Ya Hussain. Live like Ali, die like 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 Hussain. Allah loves all who have love for Muhammad in their heart. He is the city of knowledge, Ali its door and part. Hussain and Prophet Muhammad can never be apart, because this is what Muhammad has said from the start. Hussaini yom, Hussainu minni wa ana min al-Hussain. Hussain, live like Ali, die like Hussain. Live like Ali, die like Hussain. Live like Ali, die like Hussain. For life and death they are the guidance and philosophy, the sacrifice of Hussain and the way of life of Ali. You only need to look at the final sujood of Eid. This is the art of life and death we should try to achieve. Hussaini, oh, these were the words of Ali. Fusto bi Rabbil Kaaba. Live like Ali, die like Hussain. Live like Ali, die like Hussain. Live like Ali, die like Hussain. When growing up, we have been taught this lesson every day. We've been taught this lesson every day. Without a doubt, been born to serve the Ahlul Bayt. For loving them, you may face torture, agony, and pain. But every time you should never be scared to face that hate. Hussaini, oh, the bravery of Ali is what you should always show. Live like Ali, die like Hussain. Live like Ali, die like Hussain. Live like Ali, die like Hussain. Hussein's the one who's the meaning of courage, love, and peace. He owns the earth and he owns everything within the seas. He is the path to the heavens, this is a guarantee. To love Hussain is the best way to let your soul be free. Hussaini, oh, we follow him cause he guides us to what we're looking for. Live like Ali, die like Hussain. Live like Ali, die like Hussain. Live like Ali, die like Hussain. Our aim in life is to do good and to discourage wrong. Our aim in life is to do good and to discourage wrong. This is the best way to let Karbala live on and on. And even though we know that 14 centuries have gone, the sacrifice of Hussain lives on in us and our soul. Hussaini, oh, by standing for what he stood for is answering his call. Live like Ali, die like Hussain. 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 Ya Hussain, 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 Ya Hussain. By Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Okay, the Qibla is this way.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum ya Nabiyullah ya Rasulullah. Assalamu alaikum ya Ali ibn ya Amir al-Mu'mineen ya Ali ibn Abi Talib. Assalamu alaikum ya Khadijat al-Kubra al-Mu'mineen. Assalamu alaikum ya Fatima al-Zahra Sayyidati Nisa'i al-Alamin. Assalamu alaikum ya Hassan ibn al-Mujtaba. Assalamu alaikum يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بكيت وبقي الليل والنهار السلام على الحسين
وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين
خصوصا سيدي ومولاي يا أبو الفضل العباس بن أمير المؤمنين وأختك زينب وأم كلثوم وبنتك سكينة جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا علي بن حسين زين العابدين. السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي الباقر. السلام عليك يا جعفر بن محمد الصادق. السلام عليك يا موسى بن جعفر القاذب. السلام عليك يا علي بن موسى الرضا. السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي التقي. السلام عليك يا علي بن محمد النقي. السلام عليك يا حسن بن علي العسكري. السلام عليك يا صاحب الزمان الأمان من فتنة الزمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن. السلام عليك يا إمامنا وإمام الإنس والجان. أجل على ظهورك أجل على ظهورك يا ابن الحسن يا ابن الحسن. أجل على ظهورك أجل على ظهورك. السلام عليك جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كل وليك حجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آله في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
نعرہ حیدری
يا علي.
اللهم صل على Muhammad. Okay, thank you once again, everyone, for joining